Hello, everybody. It's Jack from My Social Practice, and hope you're doing well today. I'm visiting today with a good friend of mine, Dr. Angela Noguera, an endodontist who practices out in Washington, D.C. Hello, Dr. Noguera. How are you?
I'm great, Jack. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really excited, and I'm doing very well. Great weather in Washington today.
Good, good. Glad to hear it. Spring has sprung.
Finally.
Good. Well, thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to visit with me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So let me just set this up for our viewers real quick as to why we're visiting today. A couple of weeks ago, I was out in Washington, D.C. lecturing at an endodontic event, and Dr. Noguera came up to me and said, "Hey, Jack, we met about a year and a half previous. I think it was the end of the summer of 2016.
Yeah.
At an event with the College of Diplomates, Endodontic College of Diplomates, and I was lecturing out in the Atlanta area, and we met, and I think you were in one of the lectures that I did out there.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And then you came up to me a couple weeks ago and said, I've been through this amazing journey for the last 18 months or so, based on some of the things that we talked about a year and a half ago. You said I've been doing some really pretty amazing things with social media and with reviews, and it's kind of transformed my practice. And so that was music to my ears.
Yes, big time.
So I asked you, I said, would you mind taking just a couple minutes and come on, do a little live stream with me, and let's just talk about some of the things that you've done and how you've been so successful, and just some of the insights. So why don't you take just a second or two and kind of rehearse a little bit of just kind of how you set that up with me a couple weeks ago, and then I have a couple specific questions to follow up.
Yes. Okay, great. No, that will be fabulous. So first, I want to tell you that historically, I have been in practice almost 30 years. And as an endodontic practice, we are primarily dependent on referrals from other dentists. And when this whole social media has, exploded, and I have really, it takes a lot of time, I have to say. Every week you have to be on it unless you assignate somebody else to do it, but it really needs attention. But I think that you really get results. And so for me, this was the big driving force of it. I realized that everybody, all my patients who arrive here, they are always connected. Yeah. Everyone has a device in their hand of some sort. They all laugh because I finally resourced in my dental chairs, all the operatories. When the chair goes back up on the ceiling, there is the password and there's the network name and everything, and everybody laughs about it because I have to tell you, they just go on it.
That's right.
And they're doing, whether some are working, doing business with laptops, other people are on their phones, texting, calling. I've taken pictures with patients from the chair. That was per your suggestion. And they just go on their own Facebook page and we take a picture together, and they just post it, which is great. Something that I learned from you. But I realized the bottom line here. I realized how important this was it's taken me about 4 years or so, and then I really started seeing the numbers of how many patients are just directly coming, what I call from the internet, because we track every referral. And so we do the same with the patients who come from, they just search us, they Google us, so we call all these from the internet, when they don't have direct referral from another doctor. So it is right now on my top, I will say 3 or 4 referral sources of patients coming in. So it's great because it gives me the opportunity also to refer these patients out to another general dentist.
Yeah.
And I find they're very good quality patients. They're educated people. Some people worry about this. They think, I don't want to take patients. This is because, we have old models that we followed all our lives in our specialty. And sometimes it's very hard to break from that and embrace something new, including the new technology. And this is here to stay. This is what it is. You either jump on the wagon or you miss it.
Yes. Well, and I was so impressed as you were telling me about the things that you've done and the success that you've had, because in specialty practices, specialists have been a little bit further behind the curve than have general dentists. And I know it's because the model has always been that you're dependent on referrals. But what was interesting, something you said to me a couple of weeks ago in Washington, D.C., you said that you've had many times when a patient has come in and they actually have a referral slip in their hand that was from their general dentist to a different endodontist. And you've kind of looked at that perplexed, and said, well, why didn't you go there? And tell me what the response has often been.
And so the most popular, because I will tell you, the most popular reasons are because either you were closer location, you know, to the reviews. The reviews, I checked you online. I have people of all ages. You would first be inclined in thinking that only the young people are the ones doing this, but no, I have people that I would never expect, elderly patients, I would never expect to get an answer from somebody like that, because I wouldn't think they would be the ones checking me online. But everybody does this today. And so you have to have an online presence, and you have to have these reviews, and they have to be fresh, and they have to be updated. They cannot be from last year.
Yeah, you're right. I've read a couple of studies that say that whether it's healthcare services or restaurants or hotels, people consider reviews that are 3 to 6 months. Anything that's older than 3 to 6 months is really not taken as a very credible review anymore. They have to stay current.
You have to stay current, yes.
Yeah, you're right. So tell me a little bit, because I know that sometimes specialists are a little bit apprehensive. I know that you're using a software program that helps you get reviews from right inside the practice, but what do you, when you approach a patient? I know some patients that come into your office are in pain or distress, and that they're not in the mood to write a review. So how do you determine which patients to ask, and how do you ask them and get such good reviews?
Well, I think that we sort of cherry pick them, and those are based on the conversations. And once the patient, let's say, is numb and they're not in pain and they can think straight, we can have a nice conversation and sort of bond with the patient. This, for me, is the icebreaker. It helps the patient relax now that they're not having pain, and sort of develop some kind of trust in the first few minutes, because, you know, it's like your first impression you get to them. And so we just talk about trivial things, and I try to just put them at ease. But just like that, we start engaging, and you get a feel for which is the patient, and they usually will go over and beyond their call of duty to express how thankful they are that we fit them right in. You know, ideally, we're in pain. When somebody's in pain, they want to be seen right away. They don't want you to say, come in 3 days.
Yeah, exactly.
So we when they start expressing their gratitude about it, I feel this is going to be a good patient that is going to follow through. My thought now that I'm using is that most of the times when I have emergency patients, and this is a very good thing for endo because we deal with emergencies all the time, every day. I usually try after that emergency visit to send the request for the review. Mm-hmm. Again, it is so fresh in their head. They walk in pain, they're leaving in, and they're not in pain now. They're feeling great and so, you know, thankful about the whole service. Yeah. I feel they're much more likely to just jump in and do the review right there and there. And the reason I say this is that it seems to me that everyone is asking for reviews, from the supermarket to restaurants, to everywhere you go. And I think people are getting tired of being requested to do this. So you've got to really, I have even felt sometimes that people who tell me, yes, I will be glad to do it, that it doesn't happen. Yeah. And once you pass the first 24, 48 hours, then they didn't do it, likely it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So right. I feel when I have this emergency patient and I do it on that, after that first appointment, I'm getting a little more responses.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? When you expressed that to me a couple of weeks ago, I kind of had an aha moment, because I know that that this sort of dramatic opportunity, it's kind of dramatic when you're in pain and then you're not in pain.
Yes,
this is like a golden moment.
And you know, they leave your office, they're numb, they're feeling great. So that's right. The moment, yes.
That's right. And so I like your idea that you cherry pick the ones. So you've become sort of sensitive to those opportunities when it absolutely makes sense to do it. And when it doesn't make sense, you don't do it. I mean, and I think that's what's really smart about the way you're handling it.
Yeah. I've had some patients who are very, in Washington, D.C., we get all kind of political individuals, and some people are very uptight. Some people are very, work driven, and you can tell this is just not the right individual to ask. Even though they're nice, they're great patients, they do what, but it's just not the right person that is for you to even ask.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you have to select them.
That's great. I think that'll be really helpful for our audience that's listening to this, especially the specialists. So let's turn for just a minute or two. Let's turn from reviews to social media. I know that you have a presence on LinkedIn, you have a presence on Twitter, you've got a great presence on Facebook. And I think what's neat, as I've looked through your feeds, the things that you're posting, you rarely talk about endodontics specifically.
That's right.
You talk about other things, what you're doing in the community and things with your team. And so tell me a little bit about how those ideas come about and how you've done such a good job especially on Facebook.
Yeah, because I feel that it's a reflection of who we are. And that to me trickles down to the kind of service that someone would expect from getting an impression of who you are and what we believe. And we really have a great team. And I post things about my team and how cohesive we are. And I post things about the service we provide to patients, but not from an endodontic dental point of view, more like caring.
Yeah.
We care about our patients, and endodontics is in particular one of the areas in dentistry that a lot of people are very afraid and fearful. So I sort of wanna piggyback on that.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't want people to feel afraid of it, because it doesn't have to be. We've come out of the dark ages, but not a lot of people know that.
That's right, and I think one of the biggest challenges for endodontists is overcoming this long-standing kind of misperception or, commonly talked about joke about, nothing's worse than a root canal.
That's right.
And it's an old holdover. And I noticed in many of the photos that you take with patients that are grateful and appreciative of what you've done, in many cases, the caption says something like, you know what? A root canal doesn't have to be a bad thing. In fact, it doesn't cause pain. It gets you out of pain and saves your tooth.
One of the postings I did long time ago was this elderly lady, and she's having a root canal. And, there's a lot of time that I have to leave the room. They have to soak with certain medicine in the tooth. And she pulled her knitting, and she's knitting with the rubber dam in her mouth. And I had to take the picture from behind so you don't see her face, but there she is knitting. And it was like, what else could you do that could be more relaxing than knit?
That's great.
So to me, the picture was worth a million words.
You are right. Another photo I saw I think it was on your Facebook page, of I think the patient had some waiting time sitting there, but either it was you or one of your team members that was holding the hand of the patient.
Well, actually, I was working.
Oh.
And my assistant is holding the suction with one hand, and her other hand is completely trapped by the patient's hand, and he's just holding that hand so tightly, and she just worked with one hand for hold that appointment. So I called it three-handed dentistry. But those are the things we have to do.
Well, and what's so neat is that you understand that social media marketing is not about what you make, but it's about the experience. It's about what you make possible. Right. And the experience of even just showing that photo with that hand being held says you are going to have a good experience in our practice. And
that's right.
You're right. A picture tells a million words. So
I don't write a whole lot. I don't put a lot of verbiage in things, because to me, it's just the photo. The photo does that,
Yeah.
And I recently also found there's a lot of apps that people can use that are free, and you can create little videos and things like that, which are very fun and easy to do. So there's a lot of things out there to help you.
Yeah. Well, I agree. And boy, it's been so fun to watch what you've been doing. And anyway, my kudos to you for being one of those visionary specialists that really can see the value and has really taken this opportunity. So it's amazing.
Thank you.
Any other things that you want to share with our audience before we sign off? Because I know you got a busy day ahead.
I know. No, I think we've pretty much said it all. I
Okay.
say just embark on it. And the only thing is that I do feel that you need help. And so as maybe people might start on their own doing this thing, but eventually you're going to need to have somebody help you, with the reviews and with in other ways, because it becomes a little taxing.
Yeah. Well, it's good advice. Are you going to be out at the AAE event in Denver this week?
No, I'm not going to the AAE, but I'm going to the International Academy of Endodontics, though. That's in June. Yes.
Oh, good. Well, I thought maybe I'm going to be out there in Denver here in a couple of days, so I thought maybe I'd see you again, but I'll see you next time. So
yes, we will see each other. I'm sure we'll cross paths. Thank you so much for the invite. Okay.
Thank you again for spending time with me, Angela. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.